Okay, that's better. So I wanted something fairly quick and simple this week that I didn't have to think too much about, so here's HoloCure. Probably a lot of you have heard of the HoloLives, a group of VTubers. HoloCure is a fan game that takes them, remixes some of the music, puts the characters into a survival kind of game where you have swarms of crazed fans coming at you and you need to survive through enough waves of them to get through the stage. As part of not thinking too much about it, I'll be using random settings for randomly select a character. That's what this thing in the corner is here for. Pick whatever option comes up first on the level up instead of choosing from the 4 things that are picked. Stuff like that. Let's just get started with... Looks like we've got Subaru this time. Stage 1, as this will make it more difficult not being able to pick and choose what I take. So each character starts with 1 weapon, which is specific to the character. Subaru throws baseballs. They have a bit of a downward curve, as though there were gravity, even though this is a down thing, so they're basically curving south rather than down. It's a little weird, but there are a few other attacks that work the same way. Anyway, you hit fans, which are crazed. They drop little things that you pick up for experience. You get enough experience, you gain a level. Levels in this game do not raise your stats. Instead, you get a choice of things that will make you stronger in other ways. You'll get a new weapons or power up existing weapons. You can get items that give extra effects or power up items. Each character has 3 skills that are specific to the character that you can learn through these. And there are a few other things, but like I said, I'll be taking whatever is first on the list, which in this case is a stronger baseball pitch. Baseball is reasonably good at dealing with multiple or large groups of enemies. Here we have one of her 3 skills is Sunny Optimism. That increases haste, which is how fast her weapons go. Take damage, there's a chance to gain 1 Optimism. If HP reaches 0 when you have Optimism, you gain some health and a bit of invincibility for each stack. So that's a pretty good safety thing, and the haste is always helpful. As the game proceeds, the monsters or crazed fans will get stronger and stronger. Duck Whisper. I believe that's ASMR in the Japanese. Anyway. Create a sound wave every 10 seconds, deals 100% damage, increases, and may stun the closer a target is to the center. And there was the duck noise. Expressed as a shockwave. Enemies will sometimes drop food, which you can pick up to heal. Enemies will also sometimes drop what they call holo coins. Those are shown in the top right. Here's her 3rd skill, the Ozora Police. I believe that's a reference to a skit they've done a number of times, where basically it's will act as the police and go as... Anyway. Gain 2 handcuffs every 10 seconds, up to 4 when you're attacked. Use 1 handcuff to erupt all targets within 60 pixels, which instantly defeats non-bosses. So, see in the bottom left corner now, it's showing 2 handcuffs. Basically, if something hits you at this point, I'll wait for the next cloud of things to rotate. We're not getting another cloud of birds, okay. But basically, when you have handcuffs, if something hits you, instead of taking damage, you get this arrested thing, and all non-bosses nearby are instantly beaten. At level 2 of that, you can gain more handcuffs up to 6. Skills always go up to level 3. That duck call is working pretty well. Now, also, each character gets a special attack that needs to be enabled in the shop. The shop uses the coins you get during gameplay as currency, so the game itself is completely free to play, but you earn currency by playing, which you can then spend on upgrades and unlocking additional characters. Okay, Duck Whisper level 2. That increases the damage. And you can see up in the top right corner is how many coins have been collected so far on this stage. Beneath that is how many crazed fans have been beaten. Top left, you have a little character portrait, your HP gauge, Beneath that is your weapons and their levels, and the items and their levels. Right now, we only have the baseball throw, which is at level 3. Right below your portrait in the top left is your special cage. As I mentioned, that needs to be unlocked in the shop. Okay, level 4, faster baseball, has knockback. But when you use your special attack, you get a character-specific effect. I've beaten the boss, which was the big thing, and has dropped a HoloZon crate. No relation to Amazon. These will give you a random thing. Similar to what you get at level ups, the boxes cannot have skills in them, but they can have weapons, they can have items, and that gives us an upgrade to the baseball catch. So these are now going pretty quickly, pretty high rate of fire. Police level 3 gives us 8 handcuffs maximum. So yeah, we're chucking softballs out, or baseballs, pretty quickly now. They're going fast, they'll have a high rate of fire. And here's our first item. This is the Peeky Peemon. Everything in here is a reference to something from HoloLive videos. I'm not sure what this specifically is, but extra maximum hit points. When you take damage, your special meter increases with a cooldown. And here's a sticker. That's another thing you can unlock in the shop. Stickers drop randomly when you beat enemies. You can attach them to your primary weapons, which gives it various effects. This is the Weaken Stamp, 20% chance to lower enemy attack and defense, temporarily. Flower. That again is a reference to something. One of the VTubers in one of her streams had a thing where she just said, flower. A baseball pitch, increased hit limit. Yeah, projectiles will typically have a hit limit, which the game does not necessarily tell you, but after hitting that many enemies, they'll stop working. So this adds extra 3 to the limit and increases damage. So at this point, we're basically just chucking baseballs right through streams of enemies. And it just keeps going. It's pretty much a piercing attack at this point. If you're using a gamepad, which I am with 2 analog joysticks, use the left stick to move and the right stick to aim. If you're not using the aiming, you'll automatically aim in whichever direction you're facing. That maxes out Duck Whisper. A bunch of them rusted. Yeah, every so often the game will throw at you special waves of enemies that attack in formation but tend to disappear after a little while. They also tend to be stronger than the typical enemies, so you're more intended to avoid them than to beat them, but you can beat them if you have enough firepower. Here's our first actual weapon. This is the CEO's Tears. There's kind of a running gag with HoloLive that Yagu, who is the guy in charge of it, wanted to make a virtual idol group, but they keep disappointing him by mostly being doing video games and fooling around and not having the purity that idols are supposed to have. Some of them are particularly known for swearing and having questionable content. Here's another one, Ian's Curse. There are different divisions of HoloLive. You have the main ones are the Japanese group. There's an English group, which is mostly English-speaking. There's Indonesian ones. This is the Curse of En. And another box from the boss. Baseball Pitch Awakened. When you get your main weapon to level 7, it becomes Awakened, which gives additional effects in addition to the normal kind of per level up gain. So when the baseball is initially thrown, it gets bonus damage. So basically, the closer it is to you, the more damage it does. Also, we now have the changed graphics so they look like they're on fire now. It's a fun little thing. Now, some of the weapons will change more drastically. Like, one of the characters has what initially starts out as it's a gun with a burst fire, but when you get it to max level, it shoots a big plasma ball. Anyway. Skill level up. Yeah, you can see now, in addition to the 5 flaming baseballs, we have tears being thrown out in various directions more or less continually. That's the CEO's tears. We also have these black or dark purple masses of something. That's the EN's curse. The main feature of that weapon is when it hits an enemy, it may ricochet to another enemy and keep doing damage. As you level up, the ricochet chance increases. I think it eventually gets an effect where the damage goes up every time it ricochets. So that makes it pretty powerful. Here's a second image, the Just Bandage, that kind of goes along with the T. It increases your max HP. When you get hit, you heal HP back until 80% of the damage taken is recovered. Like many of these things, this is a reference to one of the streams. I can't remember which one of them it was, but apparently there was one who mentioned her outfit. She didn't have anything under the shirt, but needed to prevent chafing, so just band-aids. You can also sometimes level up, when you level up, get a stat-up bonus. These, you'll see them all on the left here. These are upgraded in the shop as well, but you can get temporary bonuses that last for the run that go from your stat-up when leveling up. Attack is now 68% instead of 60%. So those of you keep getting them, just keep adding and adding. Although it's effectively a diminishing return because, again, the percentage gets added to the existing percentage, so you go from 60 to 68 to 74 or 76, 84, so on. It's 80%. Yeah, each one is 8% of the initial attack bonus, but as the bonus keeps increasing, that's less and less of what bonus you already have. Let's use the special again. Yeah, that takes them down pretty quickly. Ian's Curse level 2. Yeah, the crates, in addition to item or weapon upgrades or just new ones, will also give you some amount of money. There's another sticker drop. Yes, if something significant drops and is off screen, it will have a pointer on the edge of the screen that shows you where it is. The bomb stamp is one of my favorites. This one, each attack you do has a chance of causing an explosion where it hits, so that's basically just some extra AoE damage. And if you have a fairly rapid weapon, that will be triggering pretty often. Sometimes you'll see now when the baseball hits something, there's this little burst of energy. Duck whistle goes off again. The opponents are continuing to get stronger. We're seeing different varieties of them. These are all references to different fan bases. Breastplate, reduced damage taken, but reduced speed. And there's also a chance to retaliate when attacked. So if you're looking close, you'll see Subaru is not moving quite as quickly now. But that does give a defense bonus and retaliation chance. We're now up to 3 of the potential 6 weapons and 3 of the potential 6 items. And I'm basically just going around chucking balls at everything. This is one of these fixed patterns of enemies that appears. Level 3 CEO's tier shoots 2 tiers at once instead of just 1, so that effectively doubles the firepower. There's another stamp. Damage to critical hit increased by 10%. I find this to be one of the least useful stickers, especially since there's one that just raises damage period by 15%. Bigger bonus, and it applies to all hits, not just critical, so yeah, the critical hit power-up things tend to seem pretty underwhelming. The plushie delays the damage you take. That can be useful if things are doing more damage to avoid taking it all at once so you don't get instantly knocked out. And have a chance to heal or otherwise recover through other means. Like the band-aid that gradually recovers the damage, there's some life leeching effects that you can get. And of course the randomly dropping hamburgers. Yeah, with the reduced speed, I'm finding it a little more difficult to dodge around enemies. Against Curse level 3. There's another boss. Yeah, the skeletons I think are Mori's fans. She's supposed to be a Reaper. These things that kind of look like Zerg are supposed to be Shrimp. Those are Gura fans. I assume the crocodiles with the detective hats are Amelia Watson's. Membership. This is not one of my more favorite things, but I'm taking the top one regardless. You lose coins every second, but as long as you have coins, you get an attack and defense bonus. There's a plushie level up. So that, again, decreases how much damage you take initially when you get hit, and spreads more of it out. Here's the wave of skeletons with shields. This is one of the parts where, if you're not properly prepared, is more likely to cause a game over. Because you get waves of them just keep closing in and closing in and closing in, and they're pretty dense. The Arrested is helping with that. I can just take chunks out of them by running into them. But those are dealt with now. No big deal. Get clumps of experience left behind. The chickens, I think, are a Kiara. She's supposed to be a phoenix. Here's another weapon, the Hollow Bomb. Just drop bombs. There's one down there. There's one here now. I think they're on a timer, but will also explode if something runs into them. Yeah, but basically, the more weapons you have, the better. It gives you some more variety. Once you level them up, you get more firepower overall. There is also the option in the shop to decrease how many weapons you're allowed to get. And there's an achievement for finishing with just a single weapon, I believe. To help with that, since the introduction of stickers, there's also a sticker that gives an attack bonus for every empty weapon slot you have. So if you combine that with a single weapon, some of the primary weapons can be very effective on their own. Here's a Fubuki. Throwing out Hadoken-type lasers to either side. Some of the stronger attacks will show a little warning thing before they hit. Some of the enemies that come running in from the sides will give you warnings that they're going to be showing up, like those crocodiles running through did. So breastplate level up. In Curse Level 5, fires 2 curses and has a 90% chance of ricocheting. It calls it chaining, but... And it hits something, it bounces off something else. I'm going to call that a ricochet. And here's the weapon, causes knockback, increases knockback if it effects already exists. But I decided as part of the letting the RNG guide, we'll just keep whatever we start with, but you can use stickers to level up the stickers that you already have. So I will strengthen this sticker. It starts at 20% chance to reduce attack and defense 20 and 5%. If we strengthen it, that goes to a 25% chance for a 25 and 7% decrease. And if something does actually get the stat down from that, you'll see little icons on them that shows sword and shield with a down arrow. So there is an indicator of when that takes effect. This is nice with some of the things. I have 2 things with negative effects, so this will reduce the negative effects of the breastplate and the membership. So the speed decrease will be lessened, the coin consumption will be lessened. As you level the Kusodagaki shackles up, that will increase to 66% reduction, and then at level 3 completely negates the negative effect. It does mention specifically it only affects negative effects on the player themselves. There is an item you can get, the Hollow, that will make the fans spawn more and get stronger. The Kusogaki shackles specifically do not affect that, because it is an effect on the fans and not on yourself. Level up the breastplate. Yeah, these can be difficult to deal with if you're a slower moving character because they're fast. And with the breastplate, I'm a slower moving character at the moment. There's a big horde of them. But they're basically dealt with now. That went pretty well. Back. Idle Song level 2. Yeah, the idle song, if you're seeing the nukes moving up and down now, that's that. It's a more vertical kind of weapon. There's another weapon that I don't have the fan beam that is purely horizontal. Others will just go every which way. I think the bombs do pay attention to your aiming. Yeah, the bombs will go out whichever direction you're aiming. Ian's curse will go in that direction. The baseball obviously goes in that direction. Here's, I think, just aim at whatever. There's some other weapons that aren't specifically targeted. Here we have clocks. I think those are for Crony. It's supposed to be the god of time or something like that. I'm not really up on much of the lore. Spider cooking, that's definitely a Hachima reference. Hachima is one of the Japanese idols, but she spent a while in Australia, where she got weird. Not necessarily in a bad way, in a very interesting way. Officially Akai Hata, which is basically red heart. But you take the Ha from Hato, put a Chama on, which is kind of a combination of Sama and Chan, so respectful and familiar at the same time. You get Hachama. And Hachima, again, does some very strange things, one of them being the spider cooking. The Hachima cooking series, she basically cooked and did not cook very well. Probably deliberately bad, so you'd have things where you just throw pre-made packages of stuff in together and heat it up, and you get suspicious things. There was one where she actually cooked a spider, hence the spider cooking, which creates a little area of miasma around you. But she's kind of held on to her particular brand of crazy, and it helps her stand out. The Ian's curse may also have something to do with Hachima, because she's apparently kind of tried to declare herself an unofficial member of Ian. Alright, let's level this up now. And you can see this curse is bouncing around pretty well. Yeah, this is the stamp I was talking about that increases weapon damage just absolutely. If I were playing normally, I would swap it out with the crit stamp because it's strictly better. But we're getting the RNG goddess, so sticking with the first 3 stamps I got. Here we have a horde of Mori fans and a horde of Gura fans. This is a reference to, I believe it was a fan video of a collaborative song they did. Like a kind of a rap duel. But you had these hordes of their fans going against hordes of their fans, with the 2 of them fighting each other directly, and then at the end of it, they end up joining forces and fighting off the fans. It's a pretty good video. I might add a link to that in the description if I remember. But yeah, you have hordes of them coming at you for a while before the bosses appear. Spider cooking is not too useful at a low level. It's not that much damage. As you level it up, it does more damage faster over a larger area. But at level 1, it's nothing much. There's something caused stun there. I think that's the duck call. Yeah, because it can cause stun to things near the center. If an enemy is stunned, it turns blue and can't move or attack until it wears off. And it does work on bosses, just not for very long. Shackles up. Spider cooking increases area. Yeah, that arrested thing is really coming in handy. If I'm understanding it correctly, that happens instead of you taking damage. So every time something gets arrested, that would normally be Subaru taking damage, but that cancels it out. you can kind of use that strategically to make holes in enemy formations. Alright, we're up to 16 minutes. The stage boss appears at 20. So survive 4 more minutes and you just need to finish that off. And there is an anvil. Anvils appear randomly and let you upgrade your stuff. You can either use it to add a level to a weapon or item. You can use it on weapons also to give them extra effects. So let's just use that on spider cooking. Yeah, enchant costs some amount of money, but it gives it a bonus effect. 250 coins. And this time it's damage plus 15%, which stacks with any bonuses that the weapon itself gets. Yeah, and sometimes, although I didn't actually see the item drop, you get these rainbow-colored experience things. If you pick one of those up, it will cause all experience that's already dropped to basically get sucked into you. So you'll collect that all at once. Very helpful if you're trying to do, there's an achievement where you gain 5 levels basically at once, I think. Yeah, achievements are, again, internal to the game. Each achievement you get will give you some kind of bonus, either extra money for the shop, or sometimes they'll unlock additional weapons and items. Spider cooking level 4 increases area again. The enemies are starting to get denser. Or maybe I'm just not taking them down quickly enough. Here's the next boss. The plants are for, I think, fauna? Yeah, see, his tier's level 6, so that makes it meaningfully faster. At max level, it shoots 4 tiers. So, yeah. Tiers kind of flying out every which way all the time. Yeah, the owls are for... one of the HoloLivers is an owl. I'm blanking on her name right now. Mume? Anyway, there are dozens of them. It's hard to keep track of them all unless you're actively trying to. We have some kind of bred dogs. I would guess that's a Corone reference. Possibly in conjunction with the I Am Bread game. Or is it I Am Toast? Either way, it's the game where you're playing as a piece of bread and trying to get yourself toasted. But it has weird physics where you control the corners of it and kind of stick to things sometimes. I've never played it, but it looks interesting. Yeah, the background music for each stage is an instrumental version of one of the HoloLive songs. Okay, they're at the 19-minute onslaught. Yeah, this is the other point where you're likely to have your end run if you're not prepared for it. Let's use the special. Because they're pretty big, you get big hordes of them, they're coming at you from all directions. It's very easy to get cornered if you're not trying to avoid it. If your weaponry is good enough, you can just keep a nice safe space for yourself in the middle of it. But I don't really seem to have enough firepower for that to be viable at the moment. I'll try to keep around the edges and fire back into the mass. Power Bomb level 4. One thing I'm probably not going to get to demonstrate in this run is that certain combinations of weapons, when you have them both at level 7, can form what are called collabs. Or once you have both weapons evolved at level 7, there's a good chance that an enemy will drop a golden anvil, which lets you combine two weapons into a new weapon. So apparently CEO's Tears and Ian's Curse are not compatible. I know that Spider Cooking and Ian's Curse are, but I don't have Spider Cooking maxed out. I forget whether the combinations they're offhand. Not sure if I have any others with what I have right now. Maybe the Cheers and the Curse? But anyway, that's the boss beaten, the stage is clear. You get the coins you collected on the stage itself, plus a bonus for winning. And yeah, that was a fairly randomized run of HoloCure. There are other stages you can play that have harder enemies and setups, but also give you bonuses to coin collection. In the shop, you can buy upgrades. I have a moderate amount of these. You can upgrade health, attack, speed, etc. Character gacha. There's the gacha system, but again, it's all in-game currency. The game itself is free to play. And if you pull someone you already got, it gives them a bonus to their stats. You can see HP, attack, and speed, up to 20%. You also get tiers, which if you get enough tiers, you can... It's basically the mercy system, where you can redeem tiers to pick whoever you want. Many of the characters also have alternate outfits, which you can get at a smaller random chance when doing a standard pull, or can spend more tiers to get them specifically. Yeah, Armory will show you everything you've unlocked. I have everything except one of the collabs. So I'm not sure which weapons those are that go into that. But you have some very interesting effects. In any case, this has been Airphone playing HoloCure. And it's a free-to-play game. I linked it in the description where you can download it. If you're at all interested, absolutely feel free to check it out.